Well, hello there, and welcome to this episode of The Terri Cole Show. And I am answering your top boundary questions in this episode. And these are the questions that I get asked all the friggin' time. So I'm going to get through as many of them as I can in our 20 minutes together. But I also want to remind you that pre-orders are happening right now for my Boundary Boss workbook. So it's super exciting. This book is amazing. It is not a companion book to Boundary Boss, my first book ever. It is actually a real workbook, not a workbook that has like 4 prompts and 77 lines to write in, because that's what a lot of workbooks look like today. This is something that is original and robust. We did not take any of the exercises from Boundary Boss because we gave a lot of exercises in that book. And then there was other things that we gave as bonuses. None of that. All of this is new. It is a real creative workbook. And we're also introducing a new way of creating scripts, your own boundary scripts. So I'm super proud of this. If you love my work, if you like this show, if you think you're going to want to get it anyway, pre-ordering is a way that you can support me, and it lets the booksellers know that there is a market for these books. And it really does profoundly impact me because it tells them that instead of ordering maybe 2 Boundary Boss workbooks to have, they should probably order more because there is a demand for it. So go to boundarybossworkbook.com. You can pre-order it at Amazon, and I've got some really amazing bonuses that go along with it too. A 10-day audio about crushing your boundary blocks. We've got a community that you can join. I'm going to be doing a bunch of giveaways. I would love for you guys to do it. boundarybossworkbook.com. Okay, that's my pitch. Moving into today's episode, where we are going to talk about the top questions that I get from you guys. But before we do, if you happen to be new, this is maybe your first time on my YouTube channel, I want to say, well, hi and welcome. I'm so happy that you are here. Make sure you introduce yourself in the comments because we're a very friendly group of people. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get notified every time I roll out new stuff, which is every Tuesday. I do my solo episodes, and every Thursday where I interview lots of people. And a lot of times it's people that you guys have asked me to interview or told me that you're interested in. All right. So why don't we move into today's content? So let's start with my definition of boundaries, right? I want you to think about your boundaries as your own personal rules of engagement, right? This lets other people know what's okay with you and what's not okay with you. This is made up of your preferences, desires, limits, and your deal breakers. So our boundaries are unique to us, right? My particular boundaries, right? My preferences are different than your preferences. My deal breakers are different than your deal breakers. But it's really important for you to know those things. And I like us to have a synchronized sort of definition of what we're going on when we're talking about boundaries, because I think that there is a ton of confusion out there, which is why I wrote the book, which is why we have the Boundary Boss workbook, all the things, because people don't really know. And the questions, the reason I'm doing this episode is that I literally get these questions all the time. So I know if zillions of people have this question, zillions more have this question. So the first question I'm going to answer is, how do you know when a boundary has been crossed? So you're going to dial into your body and get curious, right? Get curious. Like, you know, something has happened because you have had some physical reaction to that boundary being crossed, even if you didn't say anything about it. Something happened. You made a mental note. For me, I'll get like a constriction in my chest, or maybe my face might get flushed. Like, my body knows, even when my mind would want to deny it because I don't want to have to confront the person or I don't want to deal with it. Your body is always tracking, like the Bessel van der Kolk book, The Body Keeps Score. This is very true when it comes to boundary violations. Your body absolutely knows. So the action that you can take around this is write down when you feel a physical constriction about something or a resentment, and you're going to start to see a pattern of who is crossing your boundaries. And a crossed boundary could be someone telling a lewd joke or making a lewd comment about your clothing or about your body. Like, that is a boundary violation. So again, the body wisdom that you have is so profound and so deep that we just need to slow down enough to listen to the wisdom of our bodies. All right, the next question. When I think about speaking up and setting a boundary, I end up telling myself that I'm making a big deal out of nothing. How can I stop second guessing? Well, let's think about why we do this. Before we can stop doing it, we need to understand why we're doing it to begin with. So the most common reasons for not setting or enforcing boundaries is fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of conflict, fear of punishment, right? We're afraid of retaliation from other people. And I think that the number one reason for not enforcing boundaries, honestly, is a lack of accurate information, education, and guidance, right? We just don't know how to do it. So in the guide, I'm going to give you the 4 steps that I have to do it. So terricole.com/guide. But that's what you really have to think about, because if you were secure in knowing what to do, you would be able to speak up so much more easily. I feel like a lot of the second guessing isn't necessarily about making a big deal out of nothing. You're second guessing your ability to articulate what is happening for you. That's what we really have to get to. And again, it also comes down to the right words. Do we have the right boundary scripts that feel good to us? And that's a big part of the new Boundary Boss workbook, is we're doing a whole different way of writing boundary scripts, which is super cool and innovative. And I think you guys are going to absolutely love it. All right, third question. How can I set boundaries without feeling guilty? Well, again, not to be a therapist, but I am. We have to go in and try to understand, why am I feeling guilty? Right? It might be fear and not really guilt, right? I think a lot of times we misname our emotions when we're not sure. Is it guilt? Because a lot of times with my therapy clients, they'll say they're feeling guilty. And when we delve into what they're really feeling, what we discover is that what they're really feeling is fear. They're afraid of the other person being mad, right? That's kind of what guilt is to a degree, because healthy guilt, right? What does healthy guilt look like? Well, it looks like maybe you did something wrong, and maybe there is a restorative or a reparative action that you can take, right? So that's kind of healthy guilt, if there is such a thing, and there is. I mean, this is people with consciences sometimes feel guilty. Now, that's not what I'm talking about with boundaries, because if you have a right to your boundaries, right? You have a right to your preferences, desires, limits, and deal breakers. That's your right in life. I think a lot of times we just don't want to disappoint other people. Or do you feel guilty because this was modeled behavior in your childhood? Is this the way your parent would act? If they set a boundary, would they then say how guilty they felt? Or did you get messages in childhood that being self-sacrificing all the time was being loving? Because if you got that message, then drawing boundaries would make you feel unloving, and that would make you feel bad. But again, with this question, we have to really dive into the why. Like trying to deeply understand what the guilt is actually about, because we must make the distinction. Did I actually do something wrong? Because then there's something we can do about it, right? If we actually did something wrong, then we can take the boundary back. And if you did something wrong, it's really not a boundary, right? Because when you're drawing a boundary for yourself, you might do it awkwardly, but you're not doing anything wrong to someone else. So those are all the questions that you want to ask yourself with that third question. All right, fourth question. Is the only solution to someone not respecting my boundary to walk away? No. I mean, that's for most people and most therapy clients and most people that in my courses and my mastermind group and all of that, this is sort of the last action that we want to take, Like there are so many other actions. If it's a valuable relationship to you, there are so many other actions that we can take before cutting off. So the mindful action that you want to take here is you've got to be discerning, and you have to make the distinction between low priority people and high priority people. For some people, they feel like that's cold-blooded. It's really not. Everyone in the world cannot be a high priority person to you. It's impossible. And if we try to do that, then our actual high priority people get screwed in the process because we're prioritizing some lady from our yoga class. That was an actual story that one of my clients had. A lady from her yoga class ask her, she was like, I hurt my leg, I'm on crutches now. I know you don't live that far away from me. Would you please walk my dog, once a night at 6 p.m., whatever it was. So my client thought this was going to be for like a week, and she thinks of herself as a nice person. But like literally 3 months later, this lady's leg is fixed and she's still walking this lady's dog. And her husband was like, why are you doing this? And especially at this time when we usually eat dinner at this time. And now it's like she's having all this domestic unrest because she was not making a distinction or was not being discerning about who is high priority and who is lower priority. And we can blame the yoga lady and be like, she's entitled and what a mean person. It doesn't matter though. You know who's responsible for my client's boundaries? My client, not yoga lady. Because here's the thing, people. We know this, you know this. Taker's going to take, right? They're going to take. It's on the givers to set limits because the taker's not gonna. They don't want them. They're like, no, this works for me. All right, question number 5. How do I know what boundaries I need? Well, so your mindful action for this one is you start with the resentment inventory, where we sort of write down, right now, if I asked you to bring to mind what you're feeling resentful about, you would literally be able to bring that to your mind, no problem. So we know who we're feeling resentful about. So you want to do a resentment inventory. The way you're going to do this is there anything you're feeling resentful about right now in your immediate situation? What or who is getting on your nerves? What feels frustrating? Where do you feel upset, hurt, unheard, or unseen? And now this is where we connect the dots to how we're feeling and who the perpetrators are, basically. So that resentment inventory, it's just a quick tool to help you have a deeper understanding of where you need boundaries. Because this is the thing that people always ask me is, I don't know where I need them. I'm like, but you do, because wherever you're really feeling resentful is probably where you need them. Okay, next question is, how can I create boundaries without creating conflict? Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know that you can, because generally that's not the actual point. But I think that you can reframe the way that you approach this process. Because if we look at boundaries as something that we have a right to have, that it's something that we're doing for ourselves, I think that is the frame with which to look at it. And then we have to let go and say, if me having boundaries creates conflict, I'm not that fragile. I think I'll probably be okay. The other person will probably be okay. And I think what we really need to reframe is our relationship to conflict. Because for some people, it is like a dirty, bad word. And the truth is, it's really not. And in life, this is how we work things out. So we could call it working it out instead of conflict, if that feels better. But you really can't build the life that you want, a deeply satisfying life, and avoid conflict all day, every day. I think that's really difficult. We can't have boundaries and never have conflict. There's always going to be, we're going to be coming up against something, That's my 2 cents on that front. It's really about changing our relationship to conflict itself. Okay, question 7. Setting boundaries makes me feel anxious. What do you suggest? Well, again, I'm going to ask you to challenge yourself to get a little comfortable with being uncomfortable, or just be able to tolerate it. You know, a lot of times when we're getting ready to set a boundary, we feel what I call anticipatory anxiety. So it's like we haven't even done it yet, but the thought of doing it, it makes it difficult. And you'll find this. I'll give you this list in the guide, but just think about it this way. Realize that it's a temporary feeling, not a permanent state of being. It is uncomfortable in the beginning, and it's all going to be okay. I want you to work on limiting future tripping, right? Stay in the present moment, focused on your goal. Don't catastrophize about if I say this, then they're going to do this and blah. Take a quick exercise break, right? Even if it's just 10 minutes of movement, this can really help. You can also shake your body to get rid of the excess energy that the anxiety might be creating in your body. You can also do a quick mind dump journaling exercise about the impending conversation, and this can release anxiety and produce more clarity for you. And last but not least, do a quick breathing exercise, right? Do a quick guided meditation. I have a zillion free ones online. Go to Insight Timer. You can do the breathing app that Deepak Chopra has in the App Store. You can also just simply do 4x4 breathing, which is breathing in for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, and holding out for 4. Super duper simple. And these are all things that you can do super quickly, but they really can lower that jacked up anxiety down so that you feel like you can actually have the conversation. All right. If I'm codependent, does that mean I have bad boundaries? Yes, in fact, it does. It conclusively means you have bad boundaries, because that is the very definition of codependency, is disordered boundaries. So I'm going to quickly go over 10 signs of codependency. See where you fall in. Feeling responsible for solving the problems of others. Raise your hand. Or we'll do it like 10 fingers. 1 finger down. Regularly offering advice to others, whether they ask or not. Finger down. Now, I'm putting my fingers down, but keep in mind, this was me before I was in recovery. Excessive caretaking and preoccupation with others. Finger down. Fear of abandonment and or obsessive need for approval. Kind of. Okay, finger down. Feeling unappreciated for all that you do. Eventually, I would get there. Trying to please others in order to obtain their love and acceptance. Okay, finger down. Feeling like you have to be of use in order to be loved. Oh my God, that was totally my MO. Using manipulation to shame, guilt, or control others' behaviors. I would not like to admit that, but I have to say it's true. Difficulty making decisions or identifying your feelings in relationships. Okay, and lack of self-trust. All right. At some point in my life, because I have been a high-functioning codependent in recovery for many years, but I would say I identified with all 10 of those signs of codependency. What about you? Which ones resonated with you? That's what I want to know. So I hope that these 8 questions, the most common 8 questions that I get around boundaries, was helpful to you. Don't forget to go to the guide, terricole.com/guide, because I give you all the notes that you need. And don't forget to go pre-order the Boundary Boss Workbook. It is for pre-order right now. If you like this show, if you like my work, please, you're going to love this book. It is so incredibly different and robust. It took forever, so much longer than we thought it was going to take, because, I don't know, you think a workbook, like how much is it going to be? You think it's going to be like journaling prompts and lines. No, that's not what this is. I think you guys are going to absolutely love it. And this is not a companion book. It's a standalone. So whether you've read Boundary Boss or not, you're going to love the Boundary Boss Workbook. Go get that at boundarybossworkbook.com. All right, you guys, I hope you have the most amazing week. And as always, take care of you. I love all of your questions and comments, and I love to highlight them. So thank you for the questions and comments that you leave for me, all of you, because, you know, I read them all. And this is from Mary Ziato, 6347, and it's under the video, 7 Happiness Habits to Start Today. Terri, I love this episode. You're not only inspiring, but also bringing me back down to earth and helping to work towards and look forward to a happier life. Thank you. I will be saturating these tips into my being. Ooh, I love that description, Mary. She's going to be saturating those tips. Way to go.